Okay, so it's 10 o'clock. Let's go ahead and get ourselves started. There we go. Yes. Amen. Okay. Okay, so, well, we're all here for, thank you for being here, CTC, CTE, and for performing the visual arts folks. I appreciate y'all being here. And it looks like we may have some public comment from Marla Migdal. Yep. Yeah. There we go. Oh yeah, handwriting, perfect. I don't.
Okay.
Neck breaking, so if you want to be over here, or I am flexible if everybody else is flexible with that. All right. There we go.
My name is Marla Migdal, and today I want to talk about adding handwriting, manuscript, or print back in, onto the report card because there needs to be accountability. Have you seen how children in FCPS write? Very few start in the correct spot, and this impacts learning. Common Core doesn't cut it, and it's too important to not add this back. I'm talking about teaching print, not cursive. I'm talking about explicit instruction, making sure the students start the letter in the correct place and forms their letter with appropriate spacing. Why is this important? There are multiple scientific research articles pointing to how students with grade level, appropriate handwriting skills are more likely to complete written assignments. That's from 1980. Handwriting legibility contributes to better spelling skills, 1974. Students whose note-taking is slow because of poor handwriting have a difficult time comprehending their lecture, 1985. A current study states students typing didn't have the same impact on memory as physical writing, 2024. Teaching handwriting printing helps children learn to read, a 1997 study of first graders. Producing letters, forms, strokes by stroke makes it easier for the brain to perceive the letters and written words during word reading, 2015. Teaching multimodality, multisensory methods, such as saying the sounds, as writing the letter using correct formation and strokes in the first and second grades created automaticity, which allows developing writers to use their limited working memory for generating ideas, choosing word spelling. That's really important at that age. This will help all students, but for the 20% of students with dyslexia and dysgraphia or comorbidities such as apraxia, Tourette syndrome, etc., this will provide early intervention. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd say we have a sticker. Excellent, I appreciate that. All right, so next we have approval of the September 10th, 2025 meeting minutes. I didn't see any errors or any issues, did you?
No, I'm fine with that.
So maybe we go ahead and approve the minutes?
Yeah.
All right, so we can say that the 2024, September 10th, 25 meeting minutes have been approved. All right, any board member comments? You'd like to go first, Jamie? Anything?
Just that, well, I'm on the CTC Advisory Committee.
Oh, nice.
So this is my favorite topic, one of
Ah,
my
there you
favorite
go.
topics. And so I'm excited to
Absolutely.
get into it.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I'm excited about this as well. I think a lot of parents in general are excited when we think about continuing education and workforce development, all of those things combined in our, as well as the visual and performing arts, and from the, what I'm understanding is kind of going through with our new arts curriculum ideas and combining the both of these guys. And I think that that's fantastic. In medicine, a lot of graphic artists have been used to help improve like pharmaceutical, like the pill bottles and everything for folks who either have, issues with their hands, with strength, also, with color coding information. And so I think folks don't often realize how much these two actually, the visual and performing arts is just as much as important as any other skill for workforce development. So I'm very excited that you guys are doing this together. All right.
Amazing how you tied it all together.
It is.
So, okay.
Oh, you like how I do that?
I like how you tied it all together. Okay, all right.
I think
You see the connection.
I do.
Yeah.
I know. Say like I'm neurospicy. I'm very like upfront about that ADD thing. But the benefit to it is that 30,000 degree view of things, right? The 30,000 foot view of things, and that's life. And then you do this in anthropology. We talk about how everything is interconnected. Nothing lives in a silo. Ever. We are all interconnected and we all affect each other on the web. So how do we do that? This is one of those ways. So
Yeah.
I like to remind myself and others.
So we'll get to visual and performing arts, but we are
Yes.
excited about career and technical education. There definitely is a lot that's happening in this field
Yeah.
this morning, as you've already heard a little bit about. And so, as I mentioned, Dr. Christine Pearl is at a state meeting today, a different state meeting. So,
That's the blueprint one, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
But nonetheless, we have two of our very capable CTE staff members here. And so I'm going to turn it over to Corbin Shoemaker and Laura Brown to kick us off.
Thank you. Good morning. On behalf of CT team and Dr. Pearl, we thank you for allowing us the opportunity to speak to the work that's going on at FCPS around high-quality CTE programming. Each year, we try to provide you an overview of our programming as well as status around the critical work in this area. Today, we're going to provide updates pertaining to Blueprint and Blueprint Maryland's future, IRCs or industry recognized credentials, apprenticeships, and the Career Coach program. Lastly, we will share an update regarding some legislation changes and how to affect our CTE programming over the next couple of years. So to start, we want to talk about our pathways, CTE pathways or programs. We currently have 45 CTE programs in our high school, along with 3 pathways in our middle school that are electives. At CTC, we have over 20 of those programs, so we often get combined CTC. We are CTE. CTE lives at CTC as well.
Yes, there you go. That does get confusing for folks, right?
We try to start that foundation in our middle school programs, and we have aligned our middle school pathways to many of the options at the high school. And so we build that foundation of career exposure and career preparation early on. And then we are working to provide updates regarding the resources to help students understand their pathway options as they go from middle school to high school as well. The blueprint for Maryland's future specifically identifies 2 areas within CTE that measure the quality of our programming: industry recognized credentials and apprenticeships. So the blueprint requires by 2030-31, 45% of our graduates to have earned an IRC or an industry recognized credential. I'm going to say IRC a lot today. Yeah. Industry recognized credential, or complete a registered youth apprentice.
Okay.
Prior to this year, it was including youth apprentice in that metrics, and from this point on, they have decided on registered apprentice, which is a level above youth apprentice.
Okay.
So we will talk more about each one of these. Industry recognized credentials, or IRCs, serve as a metric for the employees to know the skills and the knowledge that students have gained, or the level of proficiency in an area within a CTE program. These credentials can accelerate students into a profession, regardless if they continue on in secondary education or directly into the workforce.
Okay.
We wanted to provide some data on this topic. So last year, we had 1,606 seniors graduate with at least one IRC. That is a 242 increase from the previous year. Overall, we had over 2,038 certifications earned in that cohort alone, representing about 501 more from the previous year. So we are making gains in that space.
Fantastic.
We have worked with our friends in visual performing arts, which you'll hear from shortly, to offer IRCs within some of the related courses as well. And we work with Dr. Sung and FCC to make sure if we have dual enrollment courses that a comparable IRC is offered in those as well when possible. A full listing of MSDE's approved IRCs, because there's only certain ones that'll count, is available on their website, and on our CTE websites have each program in the IRC available as well. The ones that are currently approved and used in FCPS, we have over 108 opportunities for students to earn an IRC. And so an opportunity could be from visual performing arts, could be within a program. Adobe, for instance, would count as multiple opportunities, even though it might be the same certification, but living in multiple courses. This year alone, we have, I think it was seven new certifications that we are, let me double check, 8 certifications. 7 certifications, double bullet there. Yep, that line, 7 bullets of certifications that we are offering new this year alone. Starting with our Intro to Ag class, we have a Fundamentals of Conservation and Sustainability, obviously pretty present and relevant to our county in that space. We have Entrepreneurship and Small Business in our Advanced Business Management. And then we worked with our local law enforcement officers to offer the National Law Enforcement Certification and Crime Scene Investigation at CTC under the Homeland Security Program. We are piloting QuickBooks in our advanced accounting, obviously pretty relevant to what is needed. And the FAA Part 107 drone pilot certification in our Navy Junior program at TJ. Six Sigma is also available in our Principles of Business and Entrepreneurship. So we're excited that these are new opportunities for students. Since the blueprint provides the 45% goal, we thought we'd provide the data in a similar form. So percentage of 45%, percentage of SY25 graduates, so graduates from last year who earned an IRC, at least one, was 28%. So that is a 6 percentage point increase. Previous year would have been 22. So we've gained 6% in that space. Seniors who are currently in FCPS this year entered the school year with 25%. So we are already accelerating the options for students to get their certification early before waiting to the senior year. And the other percentage there is a 68% of seniors achieve concentrator or completer status. And what that means is they've completed 2 or 3 of the required courses in a 3 or 4 course pathway. And why that's important is because that means that students are advancing through CTE classes and having more opportunities to have the knowledge and skills needed to earn those certifications. So that's an important metric for us to look at to say that we have students that are accessing our programs and we're working to make sure those IRCs are available to them. We currently have a goal of a 5% increase each year to meet that 2030-31 requirement, and we are on track right now. So the other metric that I referenced under the blueprint was apprenticeship. Work-based learning is an essential element for high-quality CTE programming. The highest level of work-based learning is apprenticeship. Youth Apprenticeship Program requires students to complete 450 hours of on-the-job experience under an approved employer. I want to note that this year, the program requirements are shifting from that youth apprentice to registered apprentice. Additionally, our apprenticeship programs are governed by the Department of Labor. They control the processes, the requirements under that. So our teacher specialist, Mike Brown, is joining Dr. Pearl at the state meeting, and he has made a lot of gains in this space working to expand youth apprentice options to students. Last year, we had 56 students complete youth apprenticeship program. Right now, the previous year was 56. This year is 65. Get those switched up. Unfortunately, apprenticeship opportunities rely heavily on the employer, and so the economic times also impact the students' the opportunities we can offer to students. Our partners are responsible for paying the salary of these, and so their ability to compensate the employees for this opportunity relies heavily on their business model as well. But we do rely on grants to support these programs, such as the Workforce Services Grant that is currently available to employers. It's $175,000 to serve around 50 students, where they are paying half of the salary on behalf of the employer. And so by doing that, we can expand as well. The work around CTE programs, IRCs, and apprenticeship is heavily supported by our Career Coach program. Supporting these elements, such as career awareness and career exposure. I'll now turn it over to Laura Brown, our Career Coach Coordinator, to speak on this program.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to talk about the Career Coach program. So, as you know, it is an initiative that does not live in a silo like you were describing. We are a partnership between Frederick Community College and Frederick County Workforce Services. Our team is 22 coaches who are serving all of our secondary students, and we are in all middle schools, all high schools, charter schools, and the Ridge. We have a coach who's supporting our dual enrollment students at FCC. So really covering a lot of ground with our team of 22. And there are 2 coordinators representing FCPS, myself, and Dr. Larry Kaiser from Workforce Services, who help implement the program, provide us supervision for the coaches as well. Something to note, our program has been funded through 2028, so there has been new legislation with that mandated funding till 2028. So we are growing. I wanted to provide some data on what the numbers look like for our program and some increases that we've had from year 1 to year 2. So our one-on-one meetings, as you can see broken down here in middle school and high school, have increased significantly from year 1 to year 2. And these are individualized meetings where a career coach is having a one-on-one conversation with the student about their interests and how to support them as they navigate different career pathways. We have group meetings, which have also increased significantly, 76% and 65%. And group meetings encompass pushing into a classroom to connect kind of curriculum to career. It could be a small group pulled out. It could be a lunch bunch or a career club. It can look different depending on what the needs of the school and the students are. We have guest speakers where we are bringing industry into the school in all industries to all different classrooms to provide that real world connection to what they're learning. And field trips, we're going out to see what businesses and industry look like, what it feels like. Something as small as the temperature of a manufacturing facility could be something that could have a student say, that's not for me, or I love it. So we're very conscious of being able to take students out so they can see and feel what these careers look like. In terms of our impact and the increased participation that our coaches have been able to allow students to participate in, the Apprenticeship Summit is one of them. We are not only marketing the programs, but having intentional conversations with students about what potential career pathways they could go down and opportunities that they can participate in. So we've seen an increase in the Apprenticeship Summit participation, in senior career fair participation, and CTC shadowing and applications, all since the Career Coach program has been implemented. Additionally, we have over 300 partners across industries that help us do this work. This is a huge piece to our program, is being able to create those partnerships with businesses so they can see how mutually beneficial it is. Because at the end of the day, our students are the future of the workforce and the future of Frederick. So being able to partner with them has been huge. We've also seen an increase in apprenticeship partners. As we built those partnerships, we let them know, hey, there's also apprenticeship. It's a wonderful opportunity to invest a little more into students. And we've been able to impact those numbers as well, including a general support of career-connected learning. So we connect to every content area. We push into history classes and math classes, English, not just CTE, but we are really trying to make that connection to careers and to their future in all content areas and support that career-connected learning.
Yeah, that's great, because that's usually the one biggest complaint that we have as kids, right? Like, what does this mean? Why would we learn this? Exactly. But being able to connect it to apply that to their future, getting them to think.
I'll get back over to Corbin to talk to us a little bit about CTE pathways.
The last element we wanted to provide you was around CTE programming and the shifts that MSD is expecting over the next couple of years. Laura used the phrase career-connected learning, CCL. That term is going to be more present over the next couple of years and is a way to approach the connection of education to workforce needs.
Yes.
Use the exact words that they're saying. This is a new concept. But it is building on the foundations of work-based learning, where we have job shadow, exposure, experiences, internships. It's building on those foundations, just under a different model called CCL. This CCL also lives within a new model that they're asking us to apply to our CTE programs. MSDE is in the process of updating all these programs to this structure from a rigid 3 and 4 course structure to what they call this flex model. This flex model provides guidance around the first 2 courses that are required, and then provides options for that 3rd course to be to occur, including a single course, dual enrollment, and the CCL opportunities as well.
That goes back to what you were saying earlier, where they're already doing 2 or 3 completer courses before they move in, and those are commonly required courses anyway, so.
standardized.
Perfect, okay.
And this also standardized that all of our programs will be able to do a 3-course completer option with a 4th course optional course. CTE has been working on this type of model for actually many years. We added work-based learning, dual enrollment opportunities, and apprenticeship to serve these 3rd and 4th courses, but what this does is standardize it across all of our programs as an option for students. This change is expected to begin to be implemented in the 27-28 school year. Again, we want to thank you for the opportunity to highlight the great work that's happening at FCPS around CTE. We continue to strive to ensure that all students have access to high-quality CTE programming and support that supports them for their future goals. Please let us know if you have any questions or need clarification on anything we shared.
Yeah, this is fantastic. Thank you for all the work that you guys put into this presentation and the data collection. Did you have any questions before
I didn't have any questions, but I have some comments, but you go ahead.
Okay. Because I am thinking about connectedness and kind of how everybody, and the different departments within our curricula, right, work together and so forth. There was a special education fair that CCACA put on, I think last year, and looking at the materials that our folks who are working with students who have difficulty with seeing or are blind or difficulty hearing or cannot hear, a lot of it, there's so much art in it. There was so much, you talk to your artists at the FFA, they have the, at the end of the year, all the students get to present their capstone projects, and then it finishes off with, so here's some folks who have been in art and been continuing that and what their work looks like, how things have changed, and how many of those folks actually went into working with kids, went into therapy and so forth, and and even occupational therapy. I mean, it includes music. It's not just there's the visual piece, but using fingers, if somebody used to play guitar, I did this with my dad when he was in the ICU, so he could continue to use his fingers and hands, which then goes back to handwriting. All of these pieces too, as folks have different learning disabilities, have we figured out, is there any kind of collaboration that maybe that's already happening that I'm just not aware of, or something y'all are working on to kind of try and pull these things together? Because we're also going to need to fill in roles for FCPS as time goes on, to try and pull in those ideas, like you're talking about the career coach or the careers that are going to be available in the different, if you're in history and so forth. Yeah.
So I'd say our middle school is where we're focusing a lot of our attention to make sure that students have exposure and awareness of those, but also we're kind of using this term, the literacy element, and a little bit different than the writing, reading literacy, but there's literacy elements within CTE and design, and that we can build that foundation, and then they have the ability to further apply that into those career pathways when they get to high school.
Your occupational therapy that you're already doing, I remember being able to meet the gentleman. I think they were going through some BLS stuff at the moment when I walked in there. But yeah, those, especially something like that, from birth to death, we work with patients in terms of their activities of daily living, and it's just so many different pieces of what you guys are doing and what the art's doing together that it'd be nice to see the kids really be able to put those pieces together, because we're going to need more and more of this, folks, for sure. So, but thank you for all of this. This is great, and I really, there was something in the data, I think, at the beginning that you presented. So much of that change, and it seems like if I'm reading through the presentation correctly, when you have that increase in not just the IRCs, but the 25% completers, some of that perhaps due to also having that career coach in there as well to help kind of continue the conversation, make sure no one forgets, from middle school and on through. Is there anything else I'm missing in that and understanding that data?
No, there's definitely a lot of intentional conversations that we're having about post-CCR pathways, about IRCs. Over the summer, Corbin Shoemaker came to our team and did a whole training on IRCs and how we can have those intentional conversations with students, because IRC means nothing to them. But what does
another acronym.
certification mean as you graduate high school? Yes. How can you, what value does it have in the workforce? And to your point, how does it cross across industries? How can you use this in an art field, but perhaps also in a business setting? So we were having those intentional conversations with students.
They're not having that 30-year career necessarily. They're going to be going into a life where they will probably have to adapt to different changes, and they have to really think about what their skills are and their skill sets and how it applies in different ways as they go forth in their future. And we decrease the anxiety around that by making them feel really good about what they can do. You mentioned the youth apprenticeship programs, and now there's a registered youth apprentice. What's the difference between the two?
So both have always existed for the past 10 years. FCPS was one of the first pilot counties to pilot the youth apprentice element.
Yeah.
Youth apprentice is 450 hours available to a younger group in high school. Our 10th, 11th, and 12th graders have access to it. The registered one was originally designed for after graduation. There's an 18 age restriction.
Requirement, okay.
And so we can still get some seniors into it.
Yeah.
There's additional elements that DOL controls regarding tuition assistance and programming around it. So we do have some challenges. However, we do believe in the youth apprenticeship model as still valuable and gets them in the door. And we're looking to convert a lot of our youth apprenticeship programs into registered. And so we're having that conversation with the employers to say, listen, you've been a long-standing youth apprenticeship provider. Can we get you to the registered one? And what barriers are there that we can assist with?
How do we bridge that gap so that we can not lose our students in the in-between just because of a requirement at the DOL?
And that is a challenge across the entire state that each district is navigating to make that switch from a youth apprentice to a registered.
As well. And then the FFA, we talked about the agricultural and sustainability piece of it, and I know I've got a lot of folks, friends of mine, all involved in the FFA, family that has been involved in FFA, and I think sometimes there can be a little confusion because we have FFA teachers on campus, and sometimes people think it's part of the curriculum and it's not. They're more of a partner with us and so forth. So how's that relationship in FFA and trying to strengthen and increase sort of those STEM opportunities? Because that's where really agriculture has gone, right? It's so much more science-based than it used to be for my grandparents, right, growing up, yeah.
I appreciate you bringing this one up because we said work-based learning, core element to CTE programming. The other one is career and technical student organizations, CTSOs. CTSO is FFA, FBLA, Skills USA, CTC,
Nice.
and Educator Rising.
Okay.
Those four are actually considered intracurricular opportunities.
Okay.
They're different than extracurricular opportunities.
Okay.
So even in the state programming, the MSD gives you a guide and says this is the HVAC program. They specifically call out CTSO as an essential element of that course. So FFA is embedded into our coursework when we're in ag classes. And so they can be a member, they can be a non-member, but they're still engaged in that work at the same time.
Okay.
So the FFA advisor is the ag teacher. And they'll be simultaneously doing FFA and the coursework.
Yeah, that's a good, Kim Appleby, who's the teacher at Walkersville High School, is a very good friend of mine. And so we've talked a lot about the differences that she experienced in Baltimore County with that program. So each county FFA is a little different, right? So is there any sort of standardizing and making sure that our students are going to be able to meet those standards that might be expected in another state or at a university? Does that make sense? Yeah.
So FFA itself is very structured when it comes to their competitions and their leadership opportunities, and their nationals is coming up here. National is FFA. We have some students representing FCPS there as well. And so the standardization is pretty clear. We also have regional representatives. Catoctin High is one of the representatives for this area. The differences, I would say, is the student buy-in, the legacies that are established at those schools. When you talk about Linganore side versus maybe a Tuscarora side that is just younger in nature. But overall, FFA structure allows for that standardization. Frederick County has the largest FFA population in the state. We have the largest number, the most teachers, the largest chapter, you name it. I would say, what are those districts doing to align to our model?
Yeah, okay, all right. And then, why do we not have one at TJ?
TJ, so a requirement under FFA is that the students have to be enrolled in an ag class.
Okay.
So currently, TJ does not have the ag program established there. When we add an ag class, we're not adding a single class, we're adding an entire program. And so there's requirements to adding a program such as facility needs that we currently are still trying to navigate to make sure that that is available. And one reason we still have CTC available and the landscape and horticulture program at CTC, so those students can access.
Okay, all right, thank you for connecting those dots for me, because I could not figure that one out.
Yeah.
All
They
right.
did have an FFA many years ago before Tuscarora. I believe the teacher that left, TJ, went
Well,
to.
that's it. That's part of the student buy-in too, right? Because you have students that have that teacher, they tell younger students about it, they come in, they want to do the same sort of thing, but then they leave and go to another school, Tuscarora. And so we do need some of the student buy-in as well to have a program, but the facilities piece, and the fact that we are at least trying to make sure that those students can access courses, we're just doing it at CTC instead.
And CTC
Okay.
has their own FFA as well.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you for helping clarifying that for me. I appreciate it.
I appreciate bringing up CTSOs. It's a great opportunity.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Anything else?
Ms. Brennan, you had
Yes, you had some
Yeah,
comments.
so,
Yeah.
so I'm glad you guys were talking about going into middle school, because one of the things, my son just completed the HVAC program, and we graduated last year, but he actually did his CTC work in 10th and 11th grade, and then in 12th grade was able to do work study and then take classes at FCC. So he really, he didn't even come. I made him go to the graduation practice stuff, and that was the first time he stepped foot in Linganore all year. Right. And so, but the advantage to that for us, because, you know, and I think that we have a lot of kids who get like that. They're kind of like, dude, I'm done with this school thing. Like, I'm ready to move on, but they're not really ready to move on. They think that they're ready to move on. And I think the advantage of that for us was that he did have a lot of that autonomy. He was getting up and going to work 3 days a week and school 2 days a week. But he was still home in our house. He was still a child. He was still having to graduate.
Yeah.
And so there was all the kind of things that you can do as a parent, you know, overseeing that it's not the same when they actually do like leave the house. And so my experience with that is, and then the fact that he did it younger, was that we were able, one, he did get his registered apprenticeship with the DOL, and he was able to get that as a sophomore. So this coming spring, he'll be able to take his journeyman's test. And I don't know that he's going to stay in the field or exactly working the way he is in the field, but he'll be able to leave. He's going to stay in until he's doing college part-time. He's going to get that journeyman's test, and then if he leaves and comes back, he'll come back in always as a journeyman. And, you know, so that is the advantage, too, of trying to get these registered, actual, real apprenticeship things, like, you know, the ones that are through the state earlier. But overall, I guess my experience is kind of, particularly just watching the way some of these kids have matured and seeing it firsthand over the last couple of years. I would really love to see us kind of maybe shift that. You know, the CTC model has always kind of been junior and senior year. But the advantages of trying to bring some of that younger, getting the kids ready for it, and not every kid's ready to do it because they haven't had some of the early coursework in middle school that they need to, so that they can meet their graduation requirements, and so, you know, the whole scheduling thing works. So I'm really glad you guys are talking about middle school. I would love to see kind of a shift. Now, I mean, some of it is age related, and those kids got to be older for some of the other stuff. But to me, I feel like we're missing out on kind of capturing the kids who somewhat would otherwise check out because they're just done. They're just done being in class. They don't see the point. And provide them an opportunity to still be in school, you know, but working, having some money in their pocket. My son has a lot of money for a kid his age. He likes that. He has a nice truck because of that. You know what I mean? And like,
have an accountant for a mom. Too,
well,
to
yeah,
help them
actually,
manage
he's
that.
got all
That's a
that
huge
from his
piece.
father. I will
Oh,
tell you
okay.
that. That's not for me.
Right.
But just, you know, just like watching it and kind of seeing some friends, you know, some kids floundering, some kids who went through different aspects of the programs doing well. It's like, it's really eye-opening to me to see how much some of those kids, you know, we had friends that were like, you know, just, oh my God, just please graduate, right? That was not the experience of any of our friends whose kids were in
Earlier.
in earlier and in CTC.
Yeah.
They were like excited to get it done. They were ready to check off all their things. And I feel like there's that critical window of like 9th or 10th grade where kids who maybe don't see themselves as wanting to be on the college track or who do not enjoy school, so they look at 4 more years of college as absolute torture, and they kind of get a little want to go off the rails. They don't want to, you know, but this is something that interests them. The first year my son came home, the first week of school, he came home with a project that they made. They made some little toolbox out of like sheet metal. And he brought that home as a 10th grader like a first grader brings home the first thing that they made in class. He was so excited to show me this toolbox.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that is something that so I'm glad we're so focused on it, but we are missing that, and I would just really like to bring that, you know, it's so critical. So I'm glad we're talking about that. I'm glad we're doing it. You know, I think just putting it out there as a parent, that hitting those kids a little younger than maybe what's been our target
Yeah.
is, I think, a path I'd like
And
to
I
see
think
us
that
go.
career coaching, what you're talking about, because and you probably had the same experience, so many parents being like, I didn't find out about this to help my kid get enrolled, and they were already a sophomore, and now I find out we're just behind the 8 ball completely. And
Right,
just
we
out of
missed
that.
all these
We
opportunities,
missed it,
yeah.
and but it sounds like really getting you guys in there and doing that has been one of those things, it's the communication piece, a lot of it.
And
yeah.
even like, I mean, I would love to see us certainly get into, obviously the career coach, not necessarily elementary school, but like the options of what's available.
The 5th
as-
grade, they do a 5th grade business thing.
They do.
Yeah.
I just, even before, you know,
Yes.
because like some of these
Expand
kids,
that a
it's
little
just, when you just don't see,
You don't
when
know
you-
what you don't know.
when you,
You do-
we don't know what
exactly.
you don't
You
know,
don't.
your parents may not be into something that has that kind of thing, but if you really don't enjoy the academics of school, and you look at your life as 4 or 8 more years of something you absolutely hate, I feel like we just miss so many kids who are so bright in so many other ways, but they just don't like, you know, the
There's a
book
lot of-
learning. You know what I mean? It's not their, but they'll do it. They'll happily do it. They'll do great in their coursework when it's something they love. You know what I mean? And we're just kind of letting those.
More
So I'm
ways to
glad
measure
we're
success
moving that
than
way.
we actually do.
Yeah,
And
so I'm
so-
really glad we're moving that way, so that's it. But, so thank you guys, I'm glad that we're looking at that, and would really just love to see it even go down farther,
Really,
younger.
yeah.
Mike Concepcion, the principal, is actively engaged in with our team, discussing the flex model and how we might be able to leverage it to get students in quicker, finish a program, into the workforce. We know the wait list there is expensive.
And that's part of it, yeah.
Yeah.
We are
As much as
actively
it is
engaged and we
really
agree.
Helpful to
And that serves as a good reminder that open house is on the 23rd.
Yes.
Yay!
October 23rd, there you go, October
Thank you
23rd.
so
What
much.
time?
6
6
to
to
8.
8.
You better get there early too, because you roll up around 7, there's no parking.
Monocacy.
Yeah, park at FCC and just walk.
Oh, awesome.
Don't tell them you told them that.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
guys.
you.
I appreciate your time.
Great.
So
Set up the
looks
next
like-
one here.
Ready for Visual board, sorry.
Yep.
Look, I was dancing with my kid in the grocery store at Weiss last night because the music was nice and you're just going grocery shopping, so why not? So that is just, you're gonna get a little of that.
So we have Dr. Kimberly Hirschman, who is our supervisor of pre-K to 12 visual and performing arts. And we're glad to have Mr. Jonathan Kurtz with us.
And Kurt's we trust.
Coordinator of the Fine Arts Academy located at Governor Thomas Johnson High.
Yes.
So welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much. So we're very excited to be here to be discussing our annual visual and performing arts updates. It's a little bit different this year because we have realigned as of July 1st. So our programs are now pre-K to 12. And our team represents that pre-K to 12 alignment. So in addition to Mr. Kurtz, I do want to acknowledge the teammates that are here supporting us. So we have our coordinator, Amanda McGrath, and our teacher specialist, Mr. John Karos. So for today, our presentation It's just going to go over our annual updates in our different areas and our different levels. So we'll touch on visual art and music in elementary, as well as our instrumental music program in elementary. And for secondary, we'll specifically talk about our Academy for the Fine Arts program, as well as our music, visual art, theater, and dance program updates. So I'm starting with our mission statement because I mentioned our realignment that happened, which was a really great opportunity for us to think about the long-term goals for our student artists, as well as connecting to college and career pathways, and then backwards mapping that for what experiences they're getting in all of our pre-K to 12 programs. So our teachers challenge students to become lifelong learners and participants in the arts. Through an innovative student-centered approach to instruction, FCPS provides an arts education supporting artistic literacy, creativity, and self-expression. So we all know that students engage in the arts for a variety of reasons, and their instincts for it are different, as well as their outcomes for it. So when we look at our programs that we offer, we really try to think about every student that's involved and what is their reason for being there, and then what is their expected outcome. We'll start with elementary. So with our realignment this summer, we took the opportunity to look at our Curriculum Now resources for our teachers. So we have 325 teachers in pre-K to 12 visual and performing arts. Our elementary team is about half of that. So we looked at the resources that are available to them and streamlined some of the accessibility to make sure that when our teachers need a resource, they know where to find it, and it's a one-stop shop. We revisited our grading and assessment practices. That's going to be an ongoing discussion as we look at, what student outcomes should be. And that's also going to tie into, we have, the state is looking at our fine arts standards. So we may have some standards coming out at the end of this year and in the next years. So we'll continue to revise those practices to reflect those new standards. We are currently exploring supplemental instructional resources for district-wide use. So one thing that happens in our elementary landscape is our resources are supplemental and oftentimes dependent upon the age of the school, if there was a rebuild, what a principal has been able to purchase. So we're exploring how we can better support all of our teachers in a more equitable way so that students have access to more similar instruction across the board. And we focused our professional learning for our primary grades, so our pre-K to 2. A lot of our schools have recently implemented the pre-K programming, so we want to make sure that we're supporting our teachers who have this new ask and ensure that they have the resources they need to support our youngest learners. In elementary instrumental music, this has been a really exciting time for this team. So they revamped their 4th and 5th grade recruitment show. And we do that occasionally to ensure that the way we market the program to students is authentic. It relates to the things that they're interested in. It showcases all of the instrument choices equally so that a student can really listen and decide what speaks to them. We also formalized the student enrollment for this year into our SIS system, so into TAC, which means that students are now enrolled into TAC and our teachers of instrumental music can pull appropriate information for the students, so health alerts, special ed indicators that they need to help with their instruction and their supervision of the students during that pull-out time. And most exciting, we collaborated this season with our partners in the community, and we offered an event that was open to the public and it was free for students to come and try a variety of instruments. So through the collaboration with Menchie and Duet with Music, we had all of the string instruments that they can select in 4th and 5th grade, all of the woodwinds, all of the brass. We had teachers that came out to support the event. So students were able to, they really could try anything. So we encouraged them to try a few that they liked. Could they make an initial sound? Do they like the way it sounds? Could they hold it? Could they see themselves taking it on the bus? So that was a huge success. We had probably about 250 individual students that came with families to try instruments, and we had a lot of positive feedback of families saying, my kid, they didn't know what they wanted, but now we know. And we have younger siblings, so please keep doing this because we want to come back again next year. So that was a huge success and a pretty quick turnaround. So we continue to offer student programs and partnerships at the elementary level. So we partner with the Delaplane frequently for professional learning with our teachers, as well as our annual Youth Art Month showcase. They also do a handful of additional showcases here and there. They may partner with our Academy for the Fine Arts, or they partner with our unified art programs for specific showcase opportunities. We have our partnership with the Weinberg, which is a decades-long partnership for the SMARTS series. So what they do is they offer to Frederick County Public Schools sort of first dibs on the opportunity to get our students into their daytime performances that are specifically aligned with our VPA curriculum or ELA curriculum or social studies curriculum. So while our office sort of coordinates and runs that with the Weinberg, it's very collaborative with other content areas and disciplines, because the goal is for our students to get into those shows. And the Weinberg has been a great partner. They're also partnering with us to bring artists and musicians out into schools. So we have a performer coming October 23rd who's going to work with the AFA in the morning and then do a showcase performance for all of Butterfly Ridge Elementary in the afternoon. So it's a fantastic partnership to have. And they still host our 5th grade honors chorus, which is a huge event, and really we don't have buildings of the capacity that the Weinberg has. So it's an amazing partnership that they support us annually for that event. Okay, moving on to our secondary programs. Fine Arts Pathways. We are at a very exciting time for visual and performing arts in the state of Maryland and FCPS specifically. So one thing that we are doing as a district is we are implementing a recognition for graduating seniors that will begin this year in 2026, and we've titled it the Distinguished Scholar Award. And a student can earn this in a specific discipline, so it could be art or music or theater or dance. And to summarize, a student has to take a certain number of courses and earn a specific grade in those courses, as well as participate in some extracurricular activities. So that might be auditioning for All County, All State, having their artwork shown in a public gallery, participating in All County Dance, participating in the Arts Honor Societies offered by their schools. So there is an application process that the student will complete on their own with the support of their school counselor and their visual performing arts teachers or community partners as well. So we're very excited for that. This will be the first year kickoff. And that actually ties into what's coming from the state level. So the state has officially approved the adoption of what they have called the Comprehensive Arts Pathway. It's a post-CCR approved pathway by the Maryland State Department of Education that will lead to a student receiving an arts diploma recognition. So we're not exactly sure what that looks like yet, if it's a sticker or a stamp on the diploma, but we're currently working out at the state level what that will look like. And it is heavily modeled in collaboration with our district arts scholar recognition. So we've actually sort of laid the groundwork for what that would look like for reporting to the state level. So FCPS is really ahead of the game with that and serves as a model for the state level. I can talk a little more about that. I think I bring it up later, but I did want to emphasize the partnership with CTE is crucial for this comprehensive arts pathway. As Corbin mentioned, we have always had a very strong relationship in VPA and CTE, and we do offer opportunities for industry-recognized credentials in fine arts. I believe that we lead the state in this capacity because we have already onboarded our teachers for high school digital art in digital photography, computer graphics, and animation. So we are offering all of our level 2 students the opportunity to take the Adobe certification in each of those classes. So it's either Illustrator or Photoshop or Animate. And that's an opportunity for them to receive that industry recognized credential, which goes towards our county goal of the 45%. So as the state arts pathway becomes clearer with how the reporting will work at the state level, we will continue to collaborate with CTE so that we can offer those credentials, so that we can work together with the career coaches so that they can better inform students and we can capture those students a little bit earlier and families know what those options are. One of the things I love about the pathway is it really works in conjunction with a lot of other opportunities, so it doesn't lock students into, I only take take arts classes, they can still meet the Maryland AP completer option or the dual enrollment option.
1 second. And there it goes, okay.
And engage in a variety of opportunities. So it does not really lock them into something, it's just an additional added opportunity that highlights the post-CCR opportunities that students have in the arts. Tied into that, we have expanding middle school participation. Part of that comes from when we did a schedule change a few years ago to provide students with more choice in their pathway and more opportunities. So we're starting to see that growth really impact our high school programs as well. And I mentioned earlier, but we are sort of living through a revision of our pre-K to 12 state arts standards. They're moving quickly. The goal is to be done around June of 2026, but we'll wait and see how things go with the state revision. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Kurtz for the Fine Arts Academy.
Great, thank you. I want to provide some additional pieces of info from the slides, but just great to be here to give you some updates on this awesome program that I get to work with every day. One of the interesting facts is that FCPS is one of only 8 counties in the state that offers a fine arts program like this, but it's the only one in the state where we don't ask kids to transfer schools in order to participate. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. Kids can be here and they can still be part of their homeschool community, and I think that's an awesome thing. A few honorable mentions, some of them are on the slide. Last year, our AFA dancers were selected to participate at the National High School Dance Festival, which is a huge honor. Not everybody gets asked to perform on that stage. Our musical theater and our theater students attended the Maryland Thespies for the first time, which is kind of like a theater competition, as the academy instead of an individual high school. And there they were offered $95,000 in scholarships to our kids. That's amazing. 5 superior ratings. The musical theater got the only perfect score in the state of Maryland, which was really awesome. And musical theater was asked to perform at the state level competition as well. And then at arts, 100% of our art students receive 4s and 5s on their AP art portfolio submissions. And then generally across the academy, and this is true for students that come in, 80% are currently studying in or in a career related to the arts, and that's remained pretty consistent. So we're very proud of that. One of the highlights, though, that's up there is our summer camp that we started offering. I think this will be the 5th year coming up this summer that we offer it. It's usually a couple weeks after school ends, and we have about 100 elementary students come and work with us for 4 days, and we open enrollment to our immediate city schools first, because our goal is to try to connect students that come in with an artistic discipline that kind of matches what they're interested in, and hopefully get them to start tracking with that through middle school and high school. Because to us, we know that students like school better when they found something that they've connected with. Whether they come to the AFA or not, the arts are important for every kid. Plus, it's just fun to watch our students interact with the elementary kids, and the elementary kids just love high school kids, and watching those mentorship relationships develop is awesome. Every time we open enrollment for this camp, it usually fills up within a few hours. Wow. It's like, as soon as I put the blast out there, camp enrollment's open, it's
What do you
full.
need to expand that camp?
It's time.
More high school kids? It's just time, okay.
Time and staffing. I mean, it's hard to ask students and staff to give up more than 2 weeks, a week out of the summer, but we try to take as many kids as we can, but every year at the end, I send a survey out to parents. It's consistently gotten 100% positive rating. So it's been an awesome outreach to the community, a nice service project for our kids. And hopefully it's connecting students so that they're signing up for those electives in middle school and high school. And have that opportunity. Speaking of capacity, which is one of the other things that's up there, and we typically have we can house around 100 to 120 students in the academy, and then we would be full. Right now, we're around 100, so we're knocking on not being able to take many more than we have. And kind of like Corbin was sharing about, why isn't an FFA at TJ High School? TJ High School is just chock full of programs right now.
A lot of programs
So
here.
facility, staffing, space is a challenge. So there's lots of things that could be offered, but in that particular facility, it's
Well,
just
not every
hard,
school
and
is
it's a
AFA.
balancing act, right?
So,
So there's other focus areas like we would consider like creative writing, cinematography, stage design to offer, but there's just
Not enough.
not the physical space. And I know the CTC is in the same boat right now, and space is being a big concern. We've also partnered with the CTC. Right now we're doing our traveling roadshow to visit every high school and every middle school. So it's me and our ambassadors and the guidance counselors from CTC and the career coaches there. We go and visit, inform. We have a meeting at every high school and middle school, tell them about the program and shadow days. And that's been really fruitful and helpful, just trying to make sure everybody knows what opportunities are there for them. We're still running into kids who might be entering their senior year and they still haven't heard of either one of the programs. So we're still trying to figure out how do we make sure every student at least knows what these options are before they get there. Those are all of my highlights. So I'll just throw out like the CTC's open house. Ours is also on the 23rd.
See,
We're doing ours on the
that's
same
what
night.
The other one, what, that's, okay, yeah.
We're doing that intentionally now because we have a lot of kids that are like, I don't know which one I want to go into. So come out, see both. They're literally down the street from each other, and then decide which ones you want
Same
to apply
time?
for.
But, okay, but they could still do, they show up at 6 at CTC and then come over to
Yeah, you can kind of float in and out.
There you go, all right, all right.
And we have our cabaret performance coming up on November 19th. It's a murder mystery this year. And you can guess
so
who
you're
the
speaking to-
murderer is. Yeah.
To me, murder mystery, I like it. Cabaret. When did you say that was?
November 19th.
November 19th.
Thank you, Jonathan. So heading back to our comprehensive programs in secondary music, and this is actually a pre-K to 12 recognition, but we have received the Best Community for Music Education Award from NAM for the 3rd year in a row. I suspect we will continue to receive that recognition. And I also wanted to mention, we do have the Washington Post Teacher of the Year as our general music teacher, Anna Claire Ayu. So that was a great celebration to add into, all of the things that all of our programs are doing for our community. In secondary music, we continue to expand our high school-based dual enrollment. So we have high school-based music dual enrollment opportunities at Tuscarora High School currently, and we're still investigating which courses we can put into our other high schools as well. And we have increased collaboration with FCC for music courses and college and career pathways. So we have a phenomenal relationship with Frederick Community College, and we really work together to think about, how we can communicate with students and families in a clear way so they understand what their high school-based opportunities are versus their open campus opportunities, and just connect students with their individualized pathways. In secondary music, we continue to offer these phenomenal student programs. So we have high school band and orchestra, all county, high school all county choir, middle school all county band and orchestra, middle school choir. I do want to stop and celebrate. This is the first year in many years that all 13 of our middle schools have choir as a curricular class again. So that is just a huge accomplishment, and we really appreciate the support of all of the school principals to make that happen. We offer our annual solo and ensemble festival, which is both middle school and high school. And then we have our high school all-county jazz band, which this year we're trying something new and we're collaborating with FCC. They do a jazz masterclass series, so our students are going to have the opportunity to work with guest performers and professionals, and they're going to host our concert as well, which is a wonderful opportunity. In visual art, I mentioned earlier, we continue to connect with the career pathway options, our Adobe certification currently in our level 2, and we are working on a 0.5 course offering that would have students take the Adobe Express exam, which is one of the approved IRC exams for the state right now. And that would be a great pairing across from the 0.5 health class for the juniors. And then again, continuing to expand our high school-based dual enrollment. So we have schools that are offering Foundations of Studio Art or the pottery class that are FCC dual enrollment credits. And then our continued partnership with the Delaplane, and they offer a specific contest for high school students called the Betty Awards, where students can win a good amount of money. In secondary theater and dance, this was a first-year recognition in the spring, so we were recognized as a premier community for theater education, which is a 3-year award. So they keep that for 3 years before we have to reapply. But that was a really big deal because it's something I've had my eye on for a long time because our theater programs are truly outstanding. So we were able to complete that application for that recognition. We are exploring an industry-recognized credential in the area of technical theater, so we'll put together a work group this year to talk about the feasibility, what level would be appropriate, does it align with our curriculum. We continue to do a high school theater festival, again in collaboration with FCC. We work together with them for facilities. They help us bring in some professionals so students have the opportunities to connect. And then we have our all-county dance program, which we host at TJ High School, and we have multiple high schools that participate in the Maryland High School Dance Showcase. And we have students that attend the high school dance showcase and walk away with college scholarships and offers, quite a lot in the area of dance. That concludes our visual performing arts presentation. Do you have any questions?
Could you explain how kids enroll in the Fine Arts Academy? And you said that they're still got connections to their home school and stuff. So excuse me, how that explain? Yeah, what that all looks like.
Sure. So it's very similar to the process for applying to the CTC. We try to kind of streamline our processes as much as we can. There is a website where they go apply online. They need to attach some audition submissions, whether it's their music, their a video of you performing a couple songs on your instruments, or theater, you perform a couple monologues or a monologue packet, or art, where you're submitting a Google Slides of here's my artwork. And that is just to ensure that students have that foundational level of skill before entering a program where they'll be surrounded by other students who are also highly talented. We don't want to set students up for failure by accepting a beginner or someone that still needs skill development. It's like putting me on the varsity football team. That wouldn't work out very well. But if they need some work, we will provide them with that critique and feedback so that they can audition again the next year. But then they come in after submitting their applications. They'll come in February, and we'll do an in-person audition, an interview. We want to talk with them. We try to mimic the college application process and the college audition process for them as much as possible. A lot of these kids are going to want to apply to college arts programs. Coming into the academy, they've kind of already gone through that process once, so they have that familiarity with it. And then we discuss amongst ourselves, evaluate them on rubrics, and then we'll let them know if they're accepted for the next year by the first week of March.
And they still participate in their home school because the AFA is a 2-block program.
Correct, it's half
So,
a day.
right, so they may come for the morning if they're in a particular content areas, or they may be in the afternoon program. So the afternoon programs are,
Theater and musical theater in the afternoon, and then we have music, art, and dance in the morning.
And how do they get back and forth?
They use the shuttles that the CTC kids use, because we also have ROTC at TJ, so those
Everybody's
buses
on
stop.
the whole cycle.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just was
Trying
wanted
to
clarification. Yeah, yeah.
It's like put all
So-
these pieces together. And then
Great.
do you find, do you get just as much participation from some of, say like Catoctin High School? I mean, I know it's a smaller school, but so, statistically, but still making sure that we're getting out to all of our schools about these opportunities. And then the travel is gonna be a piece. We are the largest county in the state, so,
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah, in general, the enrollment kind of mimics the populations of
Okay.
the high schools.
Okay.
I mean,
So
there
you're
are,
still seeing some from everybody a little bit.
yeah, we have kids from all 10 high schools.
Oh, okay, good. Just want to make sure that we weren't missing anybody, because I know travel is a thing and the time and.
Right, and there's just
Yeah.
some students, they don't want to go back and forth between two buildings. 'Cause
Yeah,
That's like
for sure.
commuting, and you have to, you
It's a
have to
lot.
really want to do that.
No, absolutely. And this is, I mean, and I've already heard me say it before, how crucial I think all of this is for our students. And I see them as partners and not as two separate areas of education. And I remember going to the graduation of your AFA students and just the amount of they can come, they were playing on the piano or what they were singing or the presence, right? That's what I'm trying to get to, the presence that they would have. And to just speak to their experiences, to do a speech, to deliver performance. And in my background, I mean, it was flute, but then I was in dance, right? And then creative writing and poetry, and been to, it's in DC. They do an open mic night. It's come to me later. Busboys and Poets, that's it, Busboys and Poets. And that poetry teacher was probably, in terms of when we talk about, interdisciplinary and so forth. He ultimately won the 2013 NAACP award for poetry, but I didn't have him then. I had him earlier, and he would have all of us speaking to the difference of competency and mastery, right? And we're in a community college. You had the most shy person who just, like, I'm just taking this because I need to get an extra credit, to, there was myself that was not quite as shy, and I've done performance before, but I'm like, do I have to memorize something and say this in front of everybody, to the lacrosse player and coach that was there. And we had some reservists as well. All of us, by the end of it, and I feel like this is something unique to arts, though, all of us, by the end of it, we all had to get up and speak, right? We all had to get up and perform that poem, because that's how it should be done. That's how poetry is meant to be done. And in that was constructive criticism about how we are standing, what is our posture, what is our pacing, what is our presence, how does our voice carry, how are we understood? And it was done in such a loving and guiding way, and then we all had to participate as well. And we all had to learn how to give that constructive criticism. And in the arts, there's something, we talk about our kids being afraid to fail, but in arts, when we mess up, there's there might be 100 people there seeing you mess up. And in practice, we have to practice failing, and how are we going to adapt? We drop a flag, right? I was in flags and I was in color guard in a band. So those things that happen, and there's something about that confidence and those skills that our kids need. We really do need those skills going forward, and then confidence in themselves and how to adapt through things that they're not going to do great at. Or they're going to fail, pick up, and then do even better. And just smash it. So I appreciate you guys for doing that, and hopefully we get more of that collaboration. It was what inspired me to put my kids in the Met summer program. I didn't tell them until what it was actually about. But then they had to learn lines, they had to perform. There was an Alice in Wonderland, and he was Lewis Carroll. So he had quite a few lines he had to memorize. But I'm telling you, I was so proud of him, and I don't think he knew that he could do that until he had to do it. So, those are good experiences for our kids to have.
Yeah, well, it's obviously very critical, because just like the current technology, there's kids who, this is what brings them to school every day.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And if they're not able to do that, or they're not having a way of seeing how that translates into life,
Yes.
they check out. And that's, I think that's our biggest concern as a district, is kids who might still be showing up into the classroom, but are
Let them show up in life, too. not
are
just in
checked
high
out
school.
of what
Yeah.
they're, where they are. So I think that's really, really critical. So
Meeting
great
all our
work. I
students where they
appreciate it.
are. Appreciate it. And I have conversations I need to have with you afterwards. So there we go. Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you guys. I
So
feel
much. All right.
missed.
Okay, so our next meeting is on November the 5th.
Yes.
And continued pathways will round the curriculum, so we'll be hearing from world languages, health and physical education, and then we'll also bring in our course guide updates.
There you go.
Yay.
Perfect. Sounds great to me. I love that.
Thank you.
Thanks. So we are at 11:06, and I believe that adjourns our meeting for today.
Thank you
guys
all very
so
much.